Okay, I'm getting there slowly. I'm just setting up the live stream and giving myself a view of the live stream. And then we'll get going. Okay, so I need to pull up the live view so I can see your comments as we're flying. We are in the Black Square King Air 350 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Please can I make this into a playlist? I already have made the playlist, Maverick. This is leg 2, so when I finish it, it will go into the playlist. Okay. That's completely lost me with where I am. Let's go and have a look at the map. We're going to take off from a small airfield called Egelsbach, just south of Frankfurt, and we're going to fly down across Austria, or across Germany first, then Austria. Across the tip of Italy, through Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, and we're going to land at this tiny little airfield called Podgorica, which is in the southeast of Montenegro. So it's going to take a while. It'll be mostly on autopilot, so I will be taking breaks. I won't be talking endlessly, so we'll just admire the scenery as we're flying along. But we're in the Black Square, so I'm going to have to behave myself with operating it and fly it somewhat accurately. So in order to get the airplane started up, we're going to have a look at the checklist, which I've prepared, and I'll put a link in the notes if I remember. For the checklist I'm following, it's one of the ones that I've made available at Ko-fi.com. So let's go and jump inside the airplane first. And we need to first of all make sure that I've used the correct control configuration, which I have not. I've got this set up for a Boeing 777 at the moment. I don't think there's much difference, to be honest, because I don't set everything up, but I want at least the 2-engine configuration. Let's see where we get to with that. I don't think I've got a King Air 350 in here. Oh, there's a King Air B350. Apply, go back, resume. What's that going to do in terms of the throttles? It looks pretty good, actually. Okay. And if I have a look around the yoke works, the pedals work. The toe brakes don't seem to do anything. Now let's just go and release the parking brake first. Now try the toe brakes. Yeah, they are working. Good. So all the primary controls seem to be working. Okay, so Control 5 takes us to the co-pilot switch panel. And we're going to choose the Avionics hardware. We're going to use the GTN XI from TDS because it gives us a nice view of Navigraph flight plan. So I filed this with, sorry, not Navigraph, Simbrief. I filed this with Simbrief and imported that back into Navigraph so you can see it on the map here. And okay, so let's go and get things started up, shall we? So Control 6 takes us to the power levers. So they need to go to minimum. Well, actually, we've got reversers here, haven't we? Let's see if they're in the right place. They seem to be okay. So we'll find that out in a few moments. Propeller levers go to fully forwards. And the condition levers stay on cutoff. Then we go over to the pilot switch panel and we put the battery switch to on. So I'm just having a quick look around. Battery switch is under here, but I'm just familiarizing myself with what's in this aircraft. So Chattanooga says, are the toe brakes for braking the toes? Well, of course they are. Does remind me of a story though, but I'll tell it later. So battery is on. Actually, before we do that, let's go and have a sneaky look at the black square aircraft have this damage system. We just wait for it to load up. I just want to see if this aircraft's damaged at all from the past. Yeah, it is. I'm going to repair it. I've not flown it for months. So we'll refill the oxygen. We'll reset any failures that are going on with the aeroplane. So we're going to pretend that we have fixed the aeroplane. Okay, so the battery is on. So Control 8 takes us overhead. We want the FSB and the no smoking as required. So we'll put no smoking to on. FSB is personal devices. I forget what the actual acronym stands for. So then we're going to go through engine start. So Control 4 takes us over here, and we're going to go and put the beacon lights on. So let's see if we can find the beacon lights. So engine anti-ice actuators. Most of the lights are here. Oh, here we go, beacon. I knew this. I got vague recollection that the lights were split in this aircraft across the two sections here. So then Control 4 takes us down here. So engine ignition, engine start. So right to on or up. I'm just going to have a read through of these. I'm going to read my own notes. So ignition and engine start section. Down here. Here we go. That's making a bit more sense. Then primary instruments, Control 1, and you can see the needle is starting to turn on the turbine. When it gets beyond 12%, which it has done, it's gone to a 20, look, we can advance the fuel condition lever to low idle, which we're going to do. And you'll see the rest of that happening. It's remarkably quiet from inside. Should we go and have a look at the volume levels? Let's turn it up for you. Okay, are you hearing me? Yeah, you're hearing me, okay. Where are we? Okay, so when it gets to 50%, we can turn the right starter back to off. And then we can put the right generator to on. Can we advance it beyond on to reset? Yes, we can. Okay, then left engine. So left goes to on. It's quite simple, straightforward really, isn't it, once you get used to it. So go to on, and you'll see the RPM raise. When it gets to 12%, which it has done, we can advance the condition lever. It will continue on round. When it gets to beyond 50%, we can turn the starter back off. It's starting to ring a few bells. I've not flown this aeroplane for a very long time. Okay, so ignition and start goes back off, and then the generator can come on, and then we flick it upwards and back down again, and that will reset the generator. I'm just reading my own notes here, playing catch up. Okay, so then the auto feather should go to on, or armed, sorry. And then the central pedestal, Control 6, we can do that to get that here, and the passenger oxygen at the bottom left is here, and we can pull that up. Then Control 7 takes us over to the back of the central pedestal, and we can go to the powered trim section, and we can put the rudder boost on and the electric trim to on, and we can go then into the cockpit and set the cabin altitude. So I'm going to calibrate the altimeter while I'm here as well, but what they're talking about really here is the pre-selector, I think. Set the initial cabin alt. Oh, okay, so what they're actually talking about here is over here. So it says on my notes Yeah, that should be fine. We're going to be flying at low altitude all the way. You'd only have to worry about that if you're going above 10,000 feet, really. Okay, so back over on the environmental section, we're going to put the left bleed valve open, the right bleed valve open. Cabin temp mode to auto. And I'm just reading around the switches quickly. So we've got vent blower is auto. Cabin temp mode. Where's the cabin temp mode switch? Here it is. So it's already on auto. And then vent blower goes to auto as well. And then cabin section on the left in the middle, we go and put the cabin master to on or up. It's really fiddly, isn't it? But I guess once you get used to the workflow and once you understand what all these things are doing, then it becomes second nature. So the inverters need to go on. And the avionics master, power to on. So that's over here. And then the instruments around the cockpit suddenly come alive. You can see the attitude indicator there is leveling itself up. And I've already calibrated the altimeter. And we go and calibrate any gyros. That's already done. So then Control 2 takes us over to the avionics. And we can configure the GPS as required. So let's go in here and continue and continue. And if we go into flight plan and menu, see if I can remember how to do this. Catalog, menu,
system test OK.
Import, and that's not what I'm after. Come back out of here. So this is the catalog. Menu. Import. Oh, maybe it is. Yes, that's the right there. That's Egelsbach too. Flight plan issue. Flight plan contains unknown waypoints. Okay, that's fine. We'll just have to make it up as we go along at those points. We'll keep an eye out for it. So it's just telling me we are running on a consumer license and not to use this for the real world. That's absolutely fine. So come back out of here and back out here again. Go to the map. And if we zoom out, actually it hasn't shown us that flight plan, has it? Or did we have to activate it? Sorry, let's go back. You can tell I'm rusty at this, can't you? We want to go to flight plan. So it's picked up that we're here. Okay, so menu, catalog, menu, import. That one. Okay. Activate. Locked waypoints must be removed. Okay. So how can we remove them? From between? Does that mean I have to fix them on the Simbrief side? That's annoying. So if we go into Simbrief, I've not seen this happen before, so this is going to be fun. Okay, so I can't even say it. Podgorica is in Montenegro. I just misread the map. So dispatch system. Let's reopen my flight plan. View flight plan. I need to edit the flight, don't I? So the waypoints that Simbrief doesn't know anything about were the one after MAH, between MAH and OZE. So there's MAH and OZE, so it's the Innsbruck one. That's bizarre, isn't it? And LAK and MSR. So there's another one there. So if we analyze the route, that's fine, generate. It said it was fine last time, it's just this airplane doesn't like it. Okay, so that's generated the flight plan. Have I still got the Simbrief downloader running? I can't remember what... Oh, here we go, it's done it. It's now available. So if we go back in here, back out. Oh, this is letting us change it now. This is bizarre, isn't it? So can we just scroll down through it? No, let's go back out and just fix it. Although, maybe it is going to let us look through it. No, it's not. Menu. Import. That one. Oh, it's still saying it's got incorrect stuff in it. So EDFE to LYPG. It's definitely the one. We've just recreated it. Export it again. Close. This is annoying, isn't it? If push comes to shove, I'll go and program it into the airplane by hand. This is the vagaries of Flight Simulator being a so-and-so. Right, menu. Catalogue. Menu. Import. EDFE to LYPG. And there it is. It works this time. Activate. Replace current route. Done. We're there! Hurrah! It just needed me to step further out of the plan to come back in. Like, if you say, well, without saying as much, that looks like a bug. So we haven't set an altitude yet, so we'll go do that. So we'll climb out to 5,000 feet at least. Configure the radios as required. Can continue. Yeah, so I've got to configure the altitude preselector, which I have now done. Can check the controls are free and correct. Come back down here, put the nav lights on now. So nav lights go to on, recognition lights go to on, and we can taxi. So we're going to go and check the annunciators, make sure what is still lit up. So the bleed air is off, and the bleed air is off on that side. So bleed air valves. Oh, did I not actually open them? No, I've put them into the middle position. There we go. So it's saying that external power is available. We're not actually using it. It's complaining about the pitch on the propellers, but they're just notifying us more than anything. Okay, so off the parking brake. And so let's see if we can taxi. So before we do anything, let's go and put the taxi lights on, shall we? So taxi light goes to on. And let's open the throttle gently. And we're moving. I'm just going to check the volume levels before we actually go anywhere. Yeah, because it's going to be very quiet inside for you guys. Okay, so I need to go and check the wind. So let's go and have a look, see where we're going to take off, and have a look at the layout of the airfield. We'll do this from LittleNavMap. So wind is out of the southeast 4 knots, almost nothing. So we'll taxi out, we'll go left and then right, follow the taxiway down. We won't need the whole runway with this aeroplane, but we'll do our best. So we go up to that taxiway. So the unknown waypoints is a strange one because I've got Navigraph installed. I've updated all the aircraft, but for some reason the TDS didn't know about some waypoints, which is very, very odd. Okay, we've come straight onto the runway, which I shouldn't have done. So we'll just go and backtrack. And apologise to the tower on the way. So let's have a look at the map. And just make sure we're still on the runway. So yeah, apologies for the faux pas with the naming of where this airfield is. No, it's inside the border. It says it is in Montenegro. Yeah, I've titled the video wrong, which is a classic kind of thing that I do. So I will fix the title of the video once we're up and running and flying. So we're just backtracking along the runway. Need quite a lot of power to keep this rolling. Once you get it rolling, you don't need as much, obviously, but okay, let's just get it straightened up. Parking brake back on for a moment. Put the yoke back on. So we want the landing lights on now, and the strobes can go on as well, which are right over there. And the pitot heats. So if we look around, and they're down here, left and right pitots. Okay, so we're more or less ready to go. So let's go and turn the weather radar to normal. We done the transponder. We haven't, have we? I'm just going to hold it here for a moment. So transponder's on standby. It's going to go to altitude mode now. We'll also go and set the heading bug to the direction of the runway on the HSI. So heading knob is here. Can we press it? Yes, we can, and that levels it up quickly. Can we do the same with the course? No, we can't. And CDI mode is on GPS, which is great. So we're at 400 feet above sea level at the moment. Holding about 90% on power. We'll just edge it a bit higher. Begin rotation. Is it going to let me? There it goes. Whoa! When it suddenly did start to rotate, it really did rotate. I had to react to that. So gear up. Yeah, I forgot this aircraft. You really need to be about 110 knots for rotation. So flaps can come up. Just hold it in the climb for the moment. So looking at the map, we want to be doing a right turn in a moment. Just trimming the aeroplane out so it holds the climb on its own. So autopilot's on. Slow those propellers down a little bit. Do we get a gauge in here to compare the left and the right? Yes, we do. The left and the right propellers. So I'm going to turn head tracking off so I can do this accurately. So, autopilot controls are way down here. So we can press nav mode, which will let the aeroplane put itself onto the GPS track. And we can go for, now has it got, what modes does it have? Let's go and have a little look. So it's got climb mode, nav mode, heading mode. So if we go climb, what will it do? So let's keep an eye on that vertical speed. At the point we did climb mode, it was just edging on 200 knots. Now it's obviously losing that speed. But is it going to adjust to maintain it? No, it's dropping off the speed alarmingly, actually. So the light is flashing on the altitude because we're within 1,000 feet of the target altitude, and you've got the altitude alert coming up as well. The airplane will level out in a moment, which is why I'm not doing anything about that climb rate. There it goes, look, it's leveling out, 5,000 feet. And the speed picks back up. So we don't need the landing lights on anymore. Or the taxi lights. Got full tanks of fuel. We're good to go. So, what sort of speed can we get away with? Because that's going to determine how quickly we do this trip. So the speed is climbing. I'm going to pull the throttles. Let's have a look at the torque there. It's about 95% at the moment, so we really are pushing on. Let's have a look at the RPM. So lowering the RPM will raise the torque, remember, so just need to be mindful of that. So we're just going to keep them in the green. Everything's looking good in terms of temperatures. We're transmitting. Weather radar hasn't really got anything to see. It's a really clear day actually. I've got live weather on. So it's interesting, this whole debate between a low idle and high idle. I've spoken to some real pilots about this, and they said it really makes very little difference operationally. He said in terms of servicing, it may well do. But yeah, they even among the real pilots that I talked to about it, they disagreed with each other about the ability to be able to take off on low idle. One of the main reasons they said you would ever use high idle is if you're taking off from grass. Yeah, it's an interesting one. No, props were not in ground idle, they were in low idle. Which, yeah, you might call it ground idle in some aeroplanes, but this aeroplane in particular, I got quite a long email, a succession of emails from a real turboprop pilot, and he was talking about different aeroplanes have different parameters obviously, but he said a lot of them you can get away with just always operating in low idle, so you put less stress on the aircraft. And he said in his experience for the particular aircraft that he'd been flying, the only reason they might ever go to high idle was if they were taking off from a grass field. But I guess it varies between different airplanes, different operators, and you know, all sorts of things. So we're actually really shifting, aren't we? Doing nearly 250 knots. But it's worth pointing out, amongst the pilots I talked to, they disagreed with each other. So your mileage may vary, I guess that's the story. Yeah, I wouldn't take. It's second-hand information coming from me. I'm just reading the live stream chat there, so don't take what I say as verbatim. I'm just repeating what different pilots told me, and the thing is that they disagreed with each other. So okay, let's get this course line lined up just so it makes sense. So that's the direction we're actually going. So let's go and have a look at the map. We are heading out towards the VOR here at Dinkelsbühl, Delta Kilo Bravo. Range or power, it's high altitude. So it's interesting that doesn't give you a range. Whereas LittleNavMap will. It doesn't often do it in Navigraph, but if you say on here, what's the range of it? It says like 195 miles estimated. It's worth pointing out though that the black square aircraft, although we're not actually using the beacon, if we were to go tune it in, so 117.8, let's go and do it. The black square aircraft actually simulate the signal degradation over distance and with the weather as well. So if we were to put that on a nav2 as well, 117.80, and transfer it, oops, oh I didn't need to do that, 117. I put it into memory. This unit has memories. It's a bit like a 1980s video recorder though, that you need a degree or you need to eat the book to understand all the different things that are hidden inside the switches. Okay, so I've just gone and configured nav2, which is this one here. So if we go and spin this round to the direction we're going, so it's just gone over to 2. Whoa! So then, knowing that we got this configured for GPS, obviously, we could then go and play games with this. So say put this on nav2, and the DME is going to show us. Obviously, it's going to show the same as the GPS, but it'll just let you go play with things. So we've got distance measuring equipment and the nav radio, but obviously this is then reflecting the GPS because it's showing VNav. If we change the CDI mode over here, it will change to, we could do it. It won't hurt anything because we've got nav1 tuned in. So if we were to say VLOC, see look, this is not quite in the middle of the track, but that's probably more to do with the VOR signal or being slightly off to one side of where the GPS location is. If we change it back to GPS, it's going to go back to the GPS route. Obviously you can see on the map. Oh, and the other thing, of course, it will be going towards the course when you do that. So we changed the GPS though, remember. Look at the autopilot mode. We've lost nav mode. When you change CDI modes, you lose nav mode. So you need to remember to go switch it back on. It will just hold the attitude of the aircraft. So 845 Sim has picked up the MD-11. It's great, isn't it? It's great fun. There's been a big update to the A300 today, if anybody doesn't know. I haven't had a look at it yet. I just saw the notification earlier and downloaded it. So I'll probably do a video over the next couple of days, having another look at the A300. Okay, so shall we have a look from outside? So we're basically going to chug along throughout this entire route, admiring the scenery along the way. Germany's quite flat, so we won't see a lot to speak of on the way across, on our way out of Germany, but obviously we are heading towards the mountains. So when we get past the VOR down here, so what's that one called? It's the Mysak VOR. Once we get past that and head south towards the mountains, we will need to climb at least 10,000 feet. So let's go and have a look on LittleNavMap. It's got the altitude plot, look. So yeah, we'll be fine until we get past that Mysak VOR, and then we'll need to climb, which will be fun. We can zoom this in so we can look in a little bit more detail. So this is one of the nice tricks that LittleNavMap has that Navigraph doesn't, is that along the line of your route you get an altitude cross-section. Oh, the turbulence is kicking us around a little bit, isn't it? So there's a track there, test track of some description. Let's go and have a look on LittleNavMap and zoom in. Not on this map. Let's have a look on the satellite map. There it is. Seehofer. Or Seehof. So it looks like a testing track, doesn't it, for vehicles? Okay, we can see the VOR coming, so if we go back to terrain mode, we'll see the mountains really clearly in LittleNavMap because we're using Google Terrain. There we go, look. So it's interesting that, Innsbruck is an NDB, and it was missing, wasn't it, in the database. I wonder if it's been decommissioned. Be interesting when we get close to it to tune in. Does this aircraft have ADF? Yes, it does. So obviously NDBs don't tend to be a very big range, so we're going to have a look. Yeah, it's only 75-mile range. So what we could do though, just for a bit of fun along the way, is if we add a 75-mile range ring to that, we can see when we'll pick it up. So just out of interest, the Dinkelsbühl VOR has got a range of 195 to 200 miles. That's huge. So once we get past Dinkelsbühl, we're going to go over to, what's the actual full name of this? The Walder VOR. So we'll go and tune in nav2 to 11280. So it's down here. So 11280. If we go and transfer that, can we pick that up yet? No, it hasn't got it, look. And the reason for that, although it says 195 miles, so it should, because we're not that far away. If we go and measure the distance from Walder to us, we're only 70 miles away, just under 70 miles away. Unless this is just showing that, no, it's just not got it yet. Interesting. And it's not got DME either on channel 2. Channel 1 it will. That's counting down 17 miles to the Dinkelsbühl VOR. 11280, I've got it right, haven't I? 11280. Interesting. So we're still on GPS mode, remember, so the HSI is obviously reflecting GPS, not the VORs. I was just doing that for a bit of interest, really, to play with the radios along the way. Okay, so on the TDS you can see Dinkelsbühl showing up. And we got a message. Airspace alert and the license alert, that's fine. Should we put the head tracking back on? So we can have a look around. What's about the cabin temperatures? So, I can never remember in this where the outside air temperature is. I know the inside air temperature is it on the door or? To have a hunt around the cockpit now looking for it. Free air temperature, there we go. 61, 16 centigrade. So I think that's outside. I've got a vague memory. Maybe I often forget which of the aircraft has got what where. And it's, like I said, it's so seldom that I fly this one that I don't often remember where things are. Anyway. So, 11280. So James Hinks is asking, as an Xbox player, what turboprop would I recommend? I don't have an Xbox, but for the rest of the people watching this, if we've got any Xbox players watching, could you wade in on that and answer Jason? Oh, sorry, Jason, sorry. No, James asked that question, sorry. And Jason said, I've caught myself trying to adjust cabin temp when I really needed to pause the game and get up and adjust my actual thermostat. So David's saying the ATR is very good. The PC6 or the C208 from Clueless God. So yeah, obviously the people that have got Xboxes and play Flight Sim on them will be able to wade in on that and say what works well on an Xbox. Everything's looking nice and smooth in the aeroplane. Should we have a little look around the aeroplane? Since we've got some time. So we can't actually get the pilot view to move down there, but we can move the drone camera around. So if I go to drone camera, now I'm going to have to slow the drone camera down. I haven't got the Xbox controller plugged in at the moment, so I can't go and do this quickly without you seeing it. And this is going to be a nightmare, look, with this turbulence. Should we take it up to 10,000 feet? We'll do it now. So there's our 10,000. And what we'll do, I'm going to turn head tracking off to do this. We're going to set vertical speed mode, and we're going to say up, and keep an eye on the vertical speed. Make sure this doesn't go too high. That's okay, actually. So it's going between 500 and 1,000. We'll maybe edge it up a little bit more. I'm just trying to get out of the influence of this bumpy air. So you can see altitude slowly climbing. So we're going to take our time. We want to keep our airspeed up. So we're going to take our time to climb. We're not going to go mad. So you can see the WLD. Aha! We've got a signal at last on Nav2. So WLD is within range now. So we can alter the course, center the heading bug up on the direction we're going, just in case we have to switch over to heading mode. What server am I on? I think I'm on Southeast Asia because I did a group flight with Maya the other night and they always use Southeast Asia. So apparently, according to David990, your part of the Asobo team has said to expect an update for the ATR. Oh, I just had a swig of cold coffee. Yuck. I might have to go make a coffee in a minute. So, I don't think this aircraft gives you a journey estimate, does it? So we get ETE, which is estimated time en route, which is to the next waypoint. I guess it probably does give you ETA somewhere. I'm not going to delve around too much. Says as he starts delving around looking for it. Now we'll leave this on map mode so you get to see the maps. They're really nice maps in the TDS. Well, they're the real thing. So it's a Garmin simulator with Navigraph data attached to it, and obviously the aircraft in the sim. So they've done a wonderful job with doing that. I know they took a lot of flack early on, the TDS guys, because it was very obvious it was the Garmin simulator and its data set. But since they integrated Navigraph into it, which must have been a hell of a job, it's become really, really good. So, LittleNavMap should give us an estimate, shouldn't it? So, yeah, same 4.5 hours for the full flights. So, that's going to be an interesting one, because that means we won't be landing till maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, which is a bit scary. So I might speed us up along the way. How are we doing on altitude? Just coming up through 7,000 feet. And we're just under 500 feet a minute. We've got no hurry to get to 10,000 feet. Just remember, we don't need to be at 10,000 until we get into the Alps. Or over the Alps, I should say. So it should be quite pretty, crossing the Alps. Going down towards... what's the name of this one? It's the Bolzano VOR. I thought it might have a different name with it being Oscar Zulu Echo. And then over to the NDB. So what was the one that was missing further on? I can't remember. Obviously we'll see it on the journey, won't we? In fact, if we unload this flight plan and re-import it from Simbrief, we'll see the difference. There's a long leg there. Yeah, so the Innsbruck was missing. There was another one though, wasn't there? So we'll see a long leg somewhere between that and MSR. It was Keb, wasn't it? Yeah. So Sarajevo is missing then. Or the VOR, northeast of Sarajevo, was missing in the aircraft. So we might, I guess we could change the route and put KIS in, couldn't we? Should we try it? So after LAC, we want to insert KIS. So let's come over to here, come back out of the aeroplane, go to flight plan, scroll down the flight plan, oh, this way. So LAC, insert after, KIS, duplicates found. KIS Sarajevo. Okay, that's good. And go back to the map. So then in LittleNavMap we can do the same. So KIS, add to flight plan, KIS, and then just remove that one. Which the airplane complained about earlier. I mean, it's going to be a couple of hours until we get there. Okay, so let's have a look and see where we are over Germany. So we're just passing Neuburg Air Force Base, and Augsburg is directly south of us at the moment, so we're going to go past and around it. Munich is directly ahead of us, but we're not going to see it. We'll see we won't see the airfield, we'll see the city. We'll just skirt past the edge of Munich as then we head south into the Alps towards Innsbruck. But remember, Innsbruck is not going to be there. Oh, sorry, obviously Innsbruck is going to be there. The waypoint we were going to use isn't. So what's the range on this VOR? 195 again, but in the mountains you're not going to get that sort of range out of a VOR. 60 miles on Bolzano. So let's remove the range ring there. So let's go and have a look at those engines. We're running torque about 95%. RPM is still quite high actually. Should we see what happens if we drop it off a little bit? Just edging it back and seeing if that has an influence on airspeed much. It's sometimes counterintuitive. You slow the propellers down and the airplane goes faster because it's not trying to grab the air as much. It's a similar problem to the swimmers get, where if they thrash at the water too much, they don't go as fast. And especially once you get into the thinner air at altitude, it pays to slow down, or slow the propellers down. In the thicker air, obviously, they'll perform better. Yeah, look, that speed's creeping up with us slowing the propellers down. Remember, the speed, indicated airspeed's going to drop off as we climb. It will show a higher number, so it's reading 240, but our ground speed is 292, look. And the higher you get, the more disparate those numbers become. So obviously, this is using air pressure. As we gain altitude, we're in thinner air, so it will read as a lower speed than we're actually travelling at. We're actually, like I said, 294, we're just under 300 knots over the ground. So let's just, out of interest, this was estimating 4 hours for the flight. Let's go and look at what's in the aircraft performance file for cruise speed. Cruise speed at typical cruise altitude. See, look, that's true airspeed though. So we're obviously going a lot faster than that. Whoever programmed this, this is absolute junk, this data. 154, 100, yeah, this is absolute nuts because we are, well, not double that speed, but at least 30% faster. So yeah, we'll take those. It's going to be way under 4.5 hours then. More like 3 hours for the journey. If that. I didn't realise that these numbers were so far out on the performance file. I downloaded it off the internet and there goes your proof there. If you ever want to do a performance file, you really need to do it from Takeoff. They're dead easy to do. All you need to do is come into here and you restart aircraft performance collection when you're on the ground. Because it's LittleNavMap is always recording aircraft performance data, whether you like it or not. So you restart it, you make a new aircraft performance file and you merge the collected aircraft performance data. So after landing, you merge it and you've made your own performance numbers, which will then be based on how you flew the aircraft. So you obviously need to fly the aircraft by the book to get good numbers. So go and have a read up of the pilot operating handbook for the aircraft in question and make sure you try to fly it almost like a test pilot, of keeping to the book numbers on climb and descent with, you know, power and propeller and all the rest of it. Anyway, so we're not going to take anywhere near as long as we thought. I wonder if we can get ETA on here then. So where could we put it? If we could swap out ETE, I guess. So change user fields. We'll change. Actually, the distance, direction of track, sorry, is pretty useless, or for our purposes anyway. So let's go and estimated time of arrival. There we go. 9:55 local. So have we got a clock in here though? Yeah, we have, and that's showing. So that's garbage. ETA at destination. 11:58 local. And again, that's garbage. I think that just it's saying that as the destination, as the next waypoint, not the end of the flight, which is a bit of a shame. ETA at destination. Yeah, it's not going to do the calculation for it, which is a bit of a shame, really. I'll leave it there. It's just to be aware that it's going to be wrong. So you'll see the colour of the leg change as we get to the waypoint, and it'll flick over to the next leg. There it goes. Change the zoom level automatically as well. And you can see the Alps coming now. And we are at 10,000 feet, which is why we've picked up, obviously, and doing 245 indicated knots. 293 knots over the ground. And there's the mountains. God, they look gorgeous, don't they? So, Pavli, now let me get your name correct. Pavli Rostislav is asking, how did you set that theme on LittleNavMap? It's looking really neat. I have an unofficial map layer for LittleNavMap that shows me Google Terrain View. If you go and search on the internet, LittleNavMap Google Terrain, you will find on FlightSim.2 a small download that you put on your file system in a particular place. And it gives you, if you click on the globe here, it gives you some extra options around Google Maps. So yeah, it's worth having, because you can obviously show Google Satellite View as well. That's not as useful, to be honest. You can also have the default Google Maps, which is quite a clean view, and it does, you know, it does change zoom levels. It takes a second to do it, but the terrain view is really fast. You can see as we zoom in, it's really fast. Yeah, the ones you get by default with LittleNavMap are things like the Carto ones, I think, come with it, and OpenStreetMap obviously is the default one you always see in LittleNavMap. OpenTopoMap is kind of like Google Terrain View, but it's a lot slower to draw. It's not too bad though, but it uses international place names, whereas obviously Google doesn't. It gives you the anglicised versions, which for me is great. For international people, probably not so great. It's worth having a look at Navigraph to see how it differs. So you can see we're just flying down here towards the Alps. I've got this on VFR mode at the moment. We can go to world map mode, which is just a cleaned up version, but this is a vector map. So when you zoom in, you do see the contour lines, but it doesn't have a legend, which is really annoying, you know, for the color coding. What else does it give you? Obviously you've got the IFR maps, and you've got high and low. So if you've never seen the difference between this, we can't pin this, just keep it open, can we? So it just gives you the routes at the high and low levels. So you saw there's the VFR map, there's the world map, there's the satellite map, which is a very good one, it has to be said. If you go and zoom in, it's a very, very high resolution satellite map. See what I mean? I think it's getting it from Mapbox, I'm not entirely sure. And then you get FAA sectionals, which obviously don't do anything outside of the US, but if we were to zoom out, go over to the US, you can see there's the US. If we go and say, look at the San Francisco Bay Area, which I'm not going to find, here it is. It's good, isn't it? So if you're in the US and you were used to looking at the FAA sectionals, it's very good. So if we get this to go back to our aeroplane, which I think we do here. There we go. We'll put this back on a world map. Or no, let's put it on VFR. Obviously, the other advantage of Navigraph is you get the charts. So there are some standard terminal arrival routes into Dubrovnik. So if we go and open this up, I'm not sure where they will be. So there's one diagram. So there's Dubrovnik in the middle, and you can see the various stars coming in. Most of them coming into the Podgorica VOR. And if we go and look at the approach routes, or approach diagrams I should say, so obviously you can get the wind. So let's go and have a find out of the wind that's going on there today. Obviously we're not going to be there for ages yet, but so we've got 133 knots, there's no wind. But we'll worry about that later. The wind may have changed by the time we get there. So we are still heading towards the Alps, but they are getting closer. My word, are they getting closer. So you can see we're just about to cross over into the mountains. We are at 10,000, which should be good to cross over them. It's gorgeous out there, doesn't it? I don't know what the wind's doing at 10,000 feet, I haven't looked. So yeah, we've got a 5 knot crosswind, there's hardly any wind. So just looking at the map here, as you can see the lake right in front of us is here, Walchensee. So we're going to pass over Bolzano and then cross some hills, and then Innsbruck will be just the other side of them. So you can see where this road goes up through the middle is here. It goes up towards Mittenwald. But we're going to cross straight over that hill into the next valley. So there's... Did I say Walchensee? I can't remember. My memory is atrocious. Walchensee, yes. Engines, see how they're doing. How about fuel? Still got enormous amounts of fuel. This thing can go for thousands of miles, I think, or well, at least well over 1,000 miles, so it's not going to be a problem for it doing this journey today. Torque is still good, propeller RPM is still good, turbine RPM is good, the fuel flow is quite high but not dangerously so, and the oil pressure and temperatures are good. The oil, saying that, the oil temperature is a bit on the high side, so it could be that we are pushing it a little bit too hard. pull the torque down. Not too much. And remember, we've got this gauge that tells us at the moment we've got a tiny amount more power going on, or more RPM I should say, on the left engine. So if we pull this back on the left throttle, I'm trying to stop it spinning right. That's odd, look, I don't trust it. So I'm going to go by the torque. Or maybe it's, yeah, because of the RPMs look the same. So why is that slowly rotating right? I think we'll leave it alone. What about temperatures? Now we're at 10,000 feet. 4 centigrade. We haven't got the blue light on there, have we? Oh, that's not for that in this aircraft. Where's the cabin warning temperature light in this one? I can't remember. Ah, there we go. Cabin temperature 70, so that's fine. Oh, we're only just skimming the mountains, aren't we? We need to be careful. So, yeah, some of those peaks, and remember this is on the specific route. The hills could be higher, so I'm going to take it up to 11,000. So on the altitude pre-selector, we're going to go for 11. Then we're going to go for vertical speed. Turn the head tracking off to do this. So there goes the vertical speed again. There we go, it's holding, it's just wandering around a little bit. We're getting a little bit of air bouncing around over the mountains. Why have we got a warning? Oh, it's the altitude alert because we're within 1,000. It's not really a warning, it's just an annunciation. Yeah, look at this ridge, that was close. So I'm going to keep an eye on that outside temperature, 3 centigrade. Yeah, once it gets below 4, you really need to start thinking about going and putting some anti-ice measures in place. But I'll keep an eye on it. I don't know if this has an annunciation built in to tell you about risk of ice forming outside. I'm really not sure. Just trying to read some of these labels with them switched off. So you got a test button? Yes, it has. If we go and hit the test button to light them all up. It hasn't got an ice warning on that one. Don't think this one down here has a test, does it? Or it's somewhere else. I think there is a button you can press to light them all up somewhere. Why were we getting a warning? Is it temperature that's doing it? 2 centigrade. See, that looks mighty close to our altitude. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt until we get a bit closer, but we'll just keep an eye on that peak. This one here seems to be right in our path, but I know flight sim can be quite deceiving sometimes with that. Still 2 centigrade. So we just passed over Innsbruck, it's behind us. Yeah, it was down in that valley. I think we're going to be okay. It's a good job we put that extra 1,000 feet in though. I wouldn't have been very comfortable at 10,000. Should we go and scoot over to the co-pilot side and have a look out the window at these rocks? Oh my word. That is a bit close, isn't it? Oh, it's a shame the scenery's glitched, look. Just as we got close to it. And it's doing it here as well, look. It's having a bit of a nightmare. Again, I think there's some server issues going on with the sim at the moment. It was happening the other day with it putting some more patching into the scenery. So I better go and change the title of the video soon. Instead of saying Podgorica being in Serbia, I need to change it to Montenegro, don't I? I think the reason for that is if I look in here at the flight. Yeah, I read that. Podgorica in Serbia. I didn't read... Okay, so we're through the worst of it in terms of altitude. We'll stay at 11,000 for a little while, because as you can see, until we really get over Bolzano, there's a risk of peaks nearby. So obviously once we come down out of the mountains over North Italy, we'll be okay. Having said that, if we zoom out, we've got some more mountains, but they're only coming up to sort of 5,000 feet. But they are much further down the route. Yeah, they're down here, look, in the middle of Bosnia. So that's where Sarajevo is, basically. Going to get the mountains there. Okay, so I might go and have a bit of a break. I'm going to go and grab a coffee, and I'll be back in a few minutes. So I'll turn the head tracking off, let the outside view on. I'll go and put LittleNavMap onto a minimal layout so you can see it, and I'll put it up in the corner. So we're approaching the Bolzano VOR, and I'll make the taskbar go away. There we go. So I'll leave it like that for a few minutes, and I'll be back soon. Okay, I'm just going to go, I've just got my coffee. I'm just going to go and change the title of the video. So if I edit the video, don't think it will harm it. So Podgorica in Montenegro. It actually lists it in Navigraph as Serbia, Montenegro, but I'm just going to change it to Montenegro. Save. There we go. So let's go and jump inside the airplane and see how our little airplane is doing. This seems to be going very slowly. What's going on? Okay, have we lost the throttles? Yes. So this is the classic bug in Flight Simulator that's been going on at the moment, where the throttles glitch. We have lost airspeed, so RPM is incredibly low. Have we got some problems with icing maybe? 2 centigrade. No warning lights. So I'm going to dump the nose. Turn the autopilot off. And the autopilot has given us a stack of left trim there, which I'm just trimming back out. So we're going to fly this by hand for a while and get some airspeed back into the airplane. So let's go and, I don't know, you go away, make a coffee, and look what happens. So we're getting our airspeed back, which is good. I'm still having to feed in a stack of, it's almost like the rudder trim's gone mad. If I let go of the aircraft, look. So I'm going to do something that the pilot wouldn't be able to do in a moment. I'm going to go and have a look outside at the control surfaces. Yeah, this airplane is corkscrewing left. Got some weird rudder trim going on. Doesn't look like it. Okay. We are still not getting our airspeed back. So RPM, oh no, we've lost. What's going on? We've had a failure on the airplane, haven't we?
Sync rate.
Yeah,
Sync rate. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
I'm going into the hills on purpose.
Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead.
So this is showing
terrain ahead. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
We've lost the left
terrain
engine,
ahead.
but we're not getting a warning about it.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead.
Just inhibit tours so it doesn't keep on at us. So we need to diagnose what's going on with this engine. Okay, so starting it isn't doing anything. We may have to do an emergency landing, you know. Our flight tonight, we're going to double back to Bolzano, I think. That's the only plausible place to get to. We're on one engine, basically. We've lost all torque, although there's no warnings. Oh, we've got a left gen. Yeah, we've got a left gen warning there. But there's no warning about the engine failing. So we're coming in on one engine. So this is going to curtail tonight's flight, unfortunately. So let's go and minimize NavMap to get out of the way. We can do this from here. So we're coming back to Bolzano. It took me a while to realise what was going on there. So I'm going to feather the engine.
500. 500.
We need to turn the generator off as well on the left engine. Well, this is an eventful round-the-world trip, isn't it? So our first proper long leg, and we're curtailing it. What's the... this is going to be dodgy, isn't it? Where can we get to easily? Can we get out of the mountains on one engine? I'm going to have to turn right, aren't I? And look for a low altitude route out, which we have got over here. Hurrah! So we're going to have to go the long way around though to get to Bolzano, I think. So what's the ICAO code for it? LIPB, isn't it? So looking at this, yeah, we just go around the edge of this range of hills. So let's keep an eye on this other engine. So we're running torque a bit high on the right engine. We've lost 2% of it. We haven't got a chip warning though. So we're really thrashing the right engine to keep the aeroplane flying. That serves me right for going and getting a coffee, doesn't it? So, while flying this along and doing my best to manually fly it with one engine. So the wind, okay, the wind supports are direct into Bolzano, at least at this altitude. Whether it's doing that on the ground at Bolzano, let's go and find out. If we hover over this, variable 2 knots, there's hardly any wind. This is an unintentionally exciting diversion, isn't it? Should we go and put our landing light? Oh, we've only got the generator off one side. I'm loath to switch anything on that's going to draw power. Whoa.
500.
While busy looking at the map, almost ploughed into a hillside. Right, we're getting there. We should see the airfield fairly soon. To get over the valley on purpose. I'm trying to keep the speed high as well. Okay, so 90-degree turn. I'm holding quite a lot of delta on the stick at all times. If I turn the yoke on, you can see, look. Oh, this is going to be so dangerous. Taking a little bit of speed off just to get to within flaps range. So there's the runway. A bit high. I'm going to try and do this without flaps if I can, because I don't want to kill my speed too much, or without flaps until very late on. Will the flaps still work with only one engine providing power? There's only one way to find out. And again, I'm going to cheat slightly here. Yeah, we do have flaps on both sides then. Puppies look good. Bit low.
$500.
Don't want to go slower than about 110, really. And breathe. So obviously this aircraft has to go in for servicing. And that draws an early end to what would have been quite a nice long flight down to Podgorica. But okay. What can you do? That was on auto already, wasn't it? That can come off. Nav lights can come off. Recognition lights can come back off. Beacon light can come off now. And the gen can come off. Avionics master can come off. The inverters can come off. The starters are already off, and battery is off. And we live to fight another day once the engineers had a look at that engine to find out what happened to it. I don't know if that was a random failure, because this does have random failures. It's built into the system to do it. Or if it was a bug. But we lost the left engine in flight, as you saw, and just had to deal with it. So I'll take a screenshot there, and I have a story to tell on a blog post now. The generator failure would have been a result of the engine failure. So the engine not spinning, generator not generating electricity. But I noticed while we were flying, I was busy looking at why we had lost RPM and then realized torque was 0 on the left engine. But bizarrely, there were no lights on anywhere for it. It was just that torque had dropped to 0. So then I feathered it, and obviously, yeah, you saw the propeller stopped. I'm not going to delve too much into why it happened. It happened, and we had to deal with it, which was good. And we managed to survive. So we dropped altitude down to 5,000 feet, flew around the hills, and got back into Bolzano. So in terms of the route as a whole, you can see, yeah, we were the autopilot got to there, and that's the point I took over, realizing there was something seriously wrong, and started descending. And then we followed the low altitude route around the hills and did a loop to lose some altitude and came back into Bolzano. So yeah, that was unintentionally exciting. Got less than halfway through the route. So we'll see if we can do better than that next time. But yeah, I'll write up a blog post telling the story. So yeah, I don't think we'll find an easy solution. We could go and have a look. If we go and turn this on to the nav switch, I think it will power up on its own. Or maybe not. So if we put the battery back on, then it will at least fire up the system. So if we go to the log, yeah, you get a real-time failure rate. Active failures. No active failures. So that looks more like a bug. Interesting. So it was on scheduled failures, so that means they're going to happen in the real time. Yeah, so I had it set to you can have failures. So we had an engine failure basically. But the interesting thing to me is the engine torque just dropped to 0. There were no other outward indications that the engine had failed. Yeah, strange. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'll go and write up the blog post with some thoughts about what happened. And I'll see you all again soon. So yeah, that was interesting. Okay, thanks for watching. And we'll try and take off from Bolzano next time and get a bit further, shall we? Take care. See you soon.